Alrighty, guys, welcome back. We are watching Nekomonogatari Kuro, Episode 1, Tsubasa Family, Part 1. Man, last time we finished Nekomonogatari, and it was very good. Had a ridiculously good final episode, and I guess I'm just curious where we are going now. I mean, obviously, this is a Hanakawa arc, which I'm all for. It's our first time we're having another arc with the same character, so I wonder, I don't know. I mean, I can think of literally a million things they could go into with Hanakawa. I mean, the name of the arc is Tsubasa Family, so I guess that kind of already, yeah, I can imagine, I guess, where this could be going. Um, I guess I'm curious, like, to me, kind of a thing that's always been in the back of my mind is like the whole Araragi Hanakawa relationship. It feels like we've never, yeah, I mean, it's never really been. It's very much like they have never had a like conclusion, I guess, that feels satisfying to the way that they feel about each other and all of that. So I guess I'm curious if we're going to go into that here. Because that, yeah, I mean, characters in the show brought it up even about how like Aragi should be dating Hanakawa instead and all of this, right? Even though, like in my mind, I know why they shouldn't. Like, can I know why Aragi and Hanakawa would not be good together? I don't know. I'm curious if that is something we will go into here because man, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we will see. We are watching Tsubasa Family Part 1. You can line up your own copy with this if you want to. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. I did not catch any of that. Oh, okay. This is right after, like, Kizu. Oh, it's Golden Week. Yeah, okay. Okay. What does Kiki do? Well, Aragi's dead, so that's a quick arc. How could he possibly go back to sleep after the way they wake him up? Okay. Wow. Sure. That's a good line. Can't tell what kind of character she is. It just started. What do you mean? Yeah. Okay, man. So we're back. We are back. Ooh, let's talk about love. Boy. Okay, so we're back. We're back. I mean, it's like right after Kizu, right? Ooh, that's interesting. I don't know if that's gonna be like a consistent thing. No, it can't really, right? Because you gotta say like going back and forth in time, because this is kind of the link between Kizu and Bake, so it's not like we could go back again, and there's nothing in between that. So, oh, hmm. Oh, man. Oh, what an image. Okay, man, that is a depressing opening, especially the lyrics too. Oh, all right, that was a really good opening though. I liked it. All right, yeah, talk about love. Come on. Hundreds of times. I mean, maybe. Mm-hmm. I wonder who. Oh God, don't bring it up again. It's terrifying. It breaks the laws of the universe. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm sure. Hmm. You figure it out? What does that mean? What are these poses? Well, I don't really think it's something you figure out. I No one knows. Well, there's this girl who convinced me to not kill myself. Uh-huh, uh-huh. H-san. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Aw. That's cute. Okay, well, come on. It might be. Hmm. God, he's so cool. Rozo Kozawa-kun. I don't. There's no mathematical formula for this. Araki. Hmm. Mm-hmm. I have this feeling of like almost dread because I know it's God. Based off Araki and Hanakawa's relationship in Bake, we know where this is gonna go in like a vague way, right? Aragi certainly doesn't enter Bake thinking he loves Hanakawa. Mm-hmm. mm. Okay, sure, sure. Oof, man, a ladder. All right, that sounds good. Sounds good to me. Man, that was some good lines from Skihi there. What is okay? What are these faces? Is it? I guess. Okay, sure. Let's go. Woo! True. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure, sure. Oh God. Oh no. Okay, we don't have to go into this part. We really don't have to. Okay, I mean, sure, I guess. I mean, no, that I mean that doesn't mean it's not love, right? Well, I don't know about that either, especially from you, buddy. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Okay. What yeah. All right. Thank you. I him. Well, I think there's supposed to be like a point to it or something. I don't know. No way. No way. You think? I guess. I feel like those things are kind of one and the same, especially for Araragi. Maybe not the one and the same, but it's not like they contradict each other, right? Hmm. I sure. It's interesting that she would have this point of view on this. I don't know. His hair has a bone in it. All right, good, awesome. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Like, what did she say? Like, hello. What? Yeah. Yeah, we got it all figured out. All right, awesome. Thank God. All right, well, I think you can leave Skihi out of this part of the conversation. Okay, all right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Die. I really don't think that's a solution, especially with what happened last time he bought one. Sure, I don't think it will, but I sounds good to me. Oh God, but what happened? She's just covered in sweat. Awesome, great. Oh God. Hmm. True. Yeah. Yeah, you would should be dead from dehydration. Okay. What are we doing? Okay. Okay. So we didn't just take Skihi's answer at face value. Oh God, the sound of that. Okay, so she just literally has like the opposite answer of Skihi. Like literally. That is interesting. That makes sense there, right? Ooh. There she is. I wonder what things are like between them immediately following Kizu. Oh, oh, right. Yeah, the yeah. Hmm. We know she tells him about it. What if All right. Hmm. Yeah, I guess it's like he just diffused the awkward situation, I guess. That's interesting though. Yeah. Huh. Sure. So is this when we get the talk we saw in Bake? What is that supposed to mean? Yeah, literally. Oh, I just really like him saying he doesn't need them compared to her, who like she doesn't have a family, right? Or I mean, she does, but they aren't. Yeah, I don't think I would. I guess I don't know the full dynamic of it, but hmm, yeah. So I mean, at the very least, we know she has essentially no connection to either of her parents, right? Yeah, I mean, can you even call them parents? How does that even happen? Like complete strangers. Hmm. Well, okay. I don't. I think you can. I don't think you need blood to be related to someone exactly, right? Or to be family. I. Hmm. I I wish he wouldn't. I wish he wouldn't. I wouldn't promise, I mean, you know. Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah. She would do it for anyone. Oh, I doubt it. Okay, well, I what? Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah. What? Okay. I literally. Yeah, that's what happened when we saw it in Bake, right? I gotta remember that. Read that. Man, fuck. Oh god, there's so many. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, no, it's all gone. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Gotta really think it through. It's like making the wish in Madoka. Okay, I please. There's no. Come on. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Ooh. Heights. What do you mean? Mm-hmm. Oh God, yeah. Breaks from school must suck for her. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay, okay. Okay. I guess like the vampire thing. Like like he healed her in Kizu, like that, I guess. Okay. Huh. That's actually interesting. I swear I recognize this singer. I don't know from where. Maybe it's obvious and I'm just dumb, but where do I recognize this from? What is this called? Kyoto Daydream. Kyoto Daydream. I should be reading the lyrics. Sorry, I'll look it up after. I mean, I'll get more chances. It's fine. Oh wow, what is? Ooh. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's happy about it. Don't know if I am. We'll talk about it. Sorry, my mic. Man, are you sure? I mean, I like. It's so rough because like of her behavior, but obviously her parents are awful. That I mean, at least her dad is, right? I mean, ugh, man, yeah, interesting. He feels so bad for her, right? Oh, or preview hallucination. Okay, sounds good to me. Mm-hmm. Cryptobiosis. Biosis? I don't know. True. True. Alrighty, that was a very good episode. I am really into this. I mean, it just feels like a continuation of Kizu. There's so much stuff that I really just oh god, there's so much like oh god, there's so many things I want to see and so much stuff. I just don't know if I'm gonna get all of it. There's so many like things that I feel like I already know about Araragi and like the way he views Hanakawa and everything about her that just there's so many things that I want to see from this and I don't know if I'm gonna get all of it and that's gonna make me sad. I hope I do. I don't know. This was a very good start though. I'm really like man, I feel so bad for Hanakawa, but there's like she's not okay. I like she's not blameless in the sense that she's literally has no like there's nothing that she could do to make her situation better. That sounds awful to say about a child that's being abused, but um I hear well I mean we'll talk about it when we get there. We'll talk about it when we get there. Let me read this first. I finally decided to recall the events of that golden week, that time when I fooled around with Hanakawa Tsubasa to my heart's content. That's what a great way to start. What a great framing from Araki. Is that really how he views it? Awesome. It's a bitter memory, an astringent memory, and yet a memory that is somewhat sweet and sour, but it is a memory that I want to forget if possible. And even if that were not possible, I want to act as if those events never happened. Those 9 golden days are the days I shall recall. To put this in a chronological context, it was approximately 1 month after the 2 weeks of spring break between my second and third years of high school, the time that I spent in hell. That was when she was drawn in by a cat. A cat, a mammal of the family Felidae and in the order Carnivora, and so, ever since Golden Week, I've been unable to stand cats. I'm afraid of cats. Yes, just like how I'm afraid of Hanakawa Tsubasa. Now, I'd like you to hear about the dream I had last night. He's afraid of Hanakawa. I guess I get that, in a sense, right? Man, oh, I totally get that. Like, oh no, dude. Oh no. Oh no. I like I see oh no. I'm just gonna have to see where this goes and like where so yeah, I mean we're back. It's right after Kizu. I mean it's like you said, it's a month later, I guess, right? But I guess I would be I mean maybe we can get more jammed in between this and Kizu. I kinda doubt that, but we are back. We have, no one from Bake is around. It's just, man, I assume we'll see Oshino. Oh yeah, we'll definitely see Oshino when we see Shinobu, right? Because we know from Aragi's like little like quick version of this in the flashback in Tsubasa Cat, we know that like that's how the problem gets solved, right? So we're definitely going to see them too, and we have his sisters now. So sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. So Skihi is I don't know, something's up with her. She's trying to be a yandere. Which, so, like, I really like this joke because I've literally talked about this and about how, like, all of the other characters in the show feel like they're, like, a trope. And it's like they, you know, it's so easy to tell, like, what kind of character they are. Like, she says here, you know, people can't tell what kind of character she is. Like, what trope she's supposed to be. Because it's like she isn't, you know? It really is like she's not. Like, I guess in a vague sense, you can say she's like, you know, oh, the sister that's technically not really related to Araki. That's kind of a trope in like a lot of like weird, you know, shows, right? But I guess, you know, after Skihi Phoenix, you know, Skihi is Skihi. She is his family. And I guess like another thing that's kind of funny about it is like Skihi is the character that is, you know, she's a fake, right? She's an oddity. She's an aberration. She isn't a person exactly, right? And yet she is the character that doesn't evenly fit into like a trope, you know? Isn't that like isn't that cool how unlike all the other characters who literally are people and are, you know, Skihi is apparently this evil phoenix bird that's a fake, you know, obviously in quotes because she's not a fake, she's Skihi. And she is the person who's like you could say the most, I don't know, she doesn't fit into a trope. I guess you can see where I'm going with that. You know, every other character, it's like they're almost locked into this idea of the trope that they represent, other than Skihi, despite Skihi being the fake, right? But you know, she's not a fake, so. Hmm. Let's talk about love. So, like, I wonder, like, how does romantic love fit into Aragi's insane, deranged mindset about human relationships, right? Like, I guess I mean just like anything else, he would be terrified of it, right? Just like if he's terrified of forming relationships with anyone of any kind, certainly romantic love would be like a step above that, right? So like obviously, you know, it would be something that you would think he would be even more scared of. Um, because I mean, yeah, I guess that just you know makes sense to me, right? If he's scared of people changing him, changing who he is, a romantic relationship would be that even more, you know. Also, I like this opening a lot. It's very good. It is very good. I wonder what the name of it is. I gotta look it up later. I gotta listen to it more. um so it's interesting to me, I guess it's interesting to me that even he would even consider the idea that he's in love with Hanakawa, because like I guess this is obviously post Kizu, right? So I guess, man, I guess he's more cured of that than I thought, right? He's not literally cured of it. He's not cured of like the underlying like cause of why he thinks like that in the first place. But I guess it's just like to me, I feel like Kizu Aragi, like before he had everything that happened in Kizu, right? There was no way he would even consider the idea of being in love with someone, right? Because of like what that would mean to him, you know. So just the fact that he even thinking about the possibility of being in love with Hanakawa is interesting to me. Of course, again, it makes sense with like everything that happened in Kizu and like what Hanakawa means to him, right? Especially because Hanakawa is like, God, I can just imagine so many ways that he could just fuck all of this up in his mind, though, right? Like, if for Senjogahara, if he thinks here, let me get to the frame of Aragi kneeling in front of her. That'd be a good one to have this one on. For Senjogahara and Aragi's relationship, if Aragi thinks that like his relationship with Senjogahara is like not real, or not that it's not real, but that the basis of it is this idea that Senjogahara feels like she needs to pay him back for what he did for her, right? And of course, he doesn't think he did anything for her. But if that's just like this underlying thing, like in the back of his mind, that's probably always going to be there. It's not. I mean, I assume it might get addressed at some point, but or maybe it'll just be like fixed over time. Who knows? But I'm just saying, if that's the way he viewed their relationship initially, and maybe still does, right? Like by Nisei, right? Then like think about how he could potentially view the way he feels about Hanakawa and like a potential romantic relationship with Hanakawa, right? Like he feels like what Hanakawa did for him in Kizu is something that he should kill himself for her, for right? Like in Bake, he said that completely deranged psychopathic thing about how he cares more about his debt to Hanakawa than their friendship, which is the worst thing ever to say to someone. And like, so if he thinks that just his if he can bastardize his relationship with Sindrigahara so much, think about how he would feel about a romantic relationship with Hanakawa, right? He would just think about that like for himself, right? He would think, okay, is this really love, or do I just have this debt to Hanakawa, and that's just why I'm feeling like this? Of course, that hasn't really been brought up at all yet, so I guess I'm just kind of extrapolating based off the way Aragi thinks about things, that he would think about that on some level, right? Because he views Hanakawa as literally like this perfect saint from heaven who, can do no wrong and is perfect, right? Because it's almost like she acts in a way that he thinks he should, with her complete denial of her own emotions and everything, right? So I guess I could just imagine. God, it's just not going to go well. Nothing is going to go well. And we know it's not going to go well because we know by Bake, Aragi is obviously convinced he's not in love with Hanakawa. It would surprise me if he actually has a good reason for that. Like, I have my own reasons for why I know Aragi and Hanakawa should not date each other and should not be romantically involved. Aragi doesn't know that. I don't think Hanakawa knows that either. So, it's not going to go well. Things are not going to go well here. God. Alright, we're talking about love with Skihi. We are talking about love with Skihi. So it's interesting that, like, Aragi wants, like, a mathematical formula for what is love? How does he know if he's feeling it or not, right? And I guess, like, again, I mean, I feel like I really am extrapolating into Aragi's thoughts here that haven't been shown to us at all, but I really am extrapolating that's, like, obviously, on some level, this shows that he's doubting what he's feeling for Hanakawa's love. Like, I mean, obviously, right? Not just, yeah, that's blatantly obvious, right? But I guess, again, my reason for thinking that is just because he would be so doubtful that, like, I feel like he would have this picturesque idea of what love is and what it's supposed to be, where if he feels like he's just indebted to her, or if the other person, like in Sindrigahara's case, is indebted to him in his mind, then that means it's not really love, and that just means that he's, whatever, just wants to pay back his debt to her. So I guess that's just why I feel like he wants to clarify this. He wants a perfect definition of what love is and how to know if that's what he's feeling it, because I guess he would, even if he's open now to the idea of being in love with Hanakawa, like through this conversation, then obviously he would still be resistant to it, right? I don't think he would just be cured completely and be like, oh yeah, I'm ready to be in love with someone, right? He certainly wasn't with Sindrigahara, right? Sindrigahara literally had to force herself on him, So, and I guess, I mean, that's what Aragi needs, right? We've said that before. Man. And yeah, there is no mathematical formula for love. It's impossible to know. I mean, like, to me, what Aragi explained, it certainly sounds like love to me. So, man, and that kind of depresses me in a way. At the same time, it doesn't, because I know that Aragi and Hanakawa, with the way they are at this point, would not. No, there's no way that they should be together. It would not work out. It would really not work out at all. God, he's so cool. Look how awesome he is. The wind blowing through his hair. And again, it's just very funny how Skihi is the fake evil bird, and she is the one who is explaining the idea of love to him. I love Skihi, man. Yeah, and it's like he's very interested in the reason, like, why did you fall in love with Ozukazawa-kun? Because, like, because man, it goes so deep, right? It goes so deep for him, right? It's not just that he would doubt that he's feeling it. Like, I guess, okay, even if he could convince himself that what he's feeling is love, then he would go down to doubting, like, the base of it and be like, okay, maybe I fell in love with Hanakawa, but maybe I fell in love with her for the wrong reasons, Like, I guess it just goes back to the debt thing, that if he just feels like he has this debt to her because of what she did for him in Kizu, then that means even if he did fall in love with her because of that, it like doesn't count. It's not real. It's it's just a debt. It's God. So he needs to go to a counselor. He needs to go to a therapist. That is what he needs. Although I guess he would just, like, lie to them, so. I guess, I don't know. He has Hachikuji, so sounds good to me. Of course, at this point, he doesn't have Hachikuji. Man, imagine if he had Hachikuji to talk with about Hanakawa. That would fix everything. Like, literally, imagine that. Imagine if he could talk to Hachikuji about the meaning of love and whether or not he's in love with Hanakawa. Man, that would be perfect. Although, we know, I guess, and in that sense, we know that Hachikuji is very pro Hanakawa, so, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Araragi's issue with this, Araragi's like issue in their relationship would be easier to fix than Hanakawa's issue. So even in that sense, I guess it's Hanakawa that needs to go to therapy. Like, I really like that analogy. This whole ladder rocket thing. It's very, yeah. Because I guess it kind of it's just yeah it contradicts Aragi's thing, right? Like he thinks that he needs a reason. I guess in Aragi's mind, he needs a reason to be in love with Hanakawa, right? And that reason has to be like good enough, I guess, right? It has to be a reason that he can't look at and be like, oh, that doesn't count, like his debt to her, you know. So yeah, it's the excuses you come up with to rationally justify your emotions. So that's a very good. That is a very good line. I really like that. Because it's not like because like I think we can say without a doubt that Aragi is in love with Shinjagahara, right? I mean he said that, you know, in Nisei. Um and I wonder if he could come up with a reason for it, right? I'm sure he could. Again, I'm sure he could. I'm sure he could come up with reasons to rationally justify his emotions, right? Like Skihi said. Um but I think we can tell that they're like it's not like you could boil it down to one thing or even like a group of things, right? Like it's just not how love works, right? So, hmm, man, yeah, Shinjagahara really was what Aragi needed, huh? And then so Skihi is so positive that Oni-chan here is in love with Hanakawa, and then she has this very, I don't know, it's she has this weird view on it that because he also has sexual attraction to her, then that must mean that it's not love, and that must mean that he's, you know, that it's just he's, you know, that it's like they're contradictory things, which is very interesting. I wonder why she has that point of view. I mean, I guess like it makes sense in the sense that like obviously Skihi is a very like emotional person and is very like, you know, like yeah, that makes sense to me, right? That like the kind of person she is, she would be entirely on the side of like emotional love is all that matters, right? But it's just it's interesting that she thinks those things are contradicting, and that like, you know, he can't be in love with her if he also feels sexual attraction towards her. Like, I don't know. That's just very, man, it's very interesting. I don't know why she would have that viewpoint exactly, you know. And I'm just a very ridiculous scene. Very, very good. Very cool. I'm really trying to think, like, hmm. Because, like, we know how Aragi views sexual attraction, or at least maybe we don't know how he views it exactly, but we know, like, how Aragi's sexual attraction is used as, like, an analogy for his emotions in the story. So, like, for Aragi, it's obvious that sexual attraction and, like, emotional connection to characters is, like, very strictly linked, you know? Like, um, so it's just it's very interesting that Skihi has the opposite view. You know, that kind of makes me rethink some things about the way I view Skihi exactly. Um, because I don't think Aragi views it like this exactly at all. You know, like I don't think he would say. No, I really think some of the crazy unhinged things that he said to Hachikuji in Nisei just directly contradict like what Skihi is saying here, at least for the way Aragi feels about like sexual attraction versus like emotional connection, you know? So like when he like, you know, all that insane ridiculous shit that the Hachikuji talk in Nisei when he almost kisses her, all the just the unhinged things that he says to her there. Um it's very obvious that like he has this incredibly deep emotional connection with Hachikuji, and it's mirrored in the way that he, you know, the insane unhinged way that he acts with her and the things he says to her. So yeah, it's just interesting that Skihi would have this position. Um, hmm. Because Because I guess on some level I could imagine Araragi trying to excuse his own like love for Hanakawa like this, right? Um, because I guess he would be looking. Because I feel like he would be looking for any excuse to tell himself that he's not in love with her, right? Because he would be afraid of being in love with someone. So, hmm. I almost wonder if it's just because Skihi brought up any possible opposing like viewpoint to it. He just immediately latches onto it and is like, "Oh, okay, so I must not be in love with her," right? Because of course that's what he would want to do, you know. Very interesting. It's very interesting. Hmm. And then, so Karen ran a marathon, and she should be dead from dehydration. Like, I mean, she better have brought 5 gallons of water with her. I mean, man, I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. But so Aragi asks her the same question, which is again, it's interesting because it shows that, of course, he didn't just take Skihi's answer at face value, right? Um, but he asks her the same question, and she immediately gives him the answer, which is just the exact opposite of what Skihi said. Which again makes sense. Like Skihi and Karen are kind of two sides of the same coin, where it's like they, yeah. So it makes sense she would have the opposite answer, right? Hmm. But for her, it's just yeah. If you, the sexual attraction is the love. But I mean, maybe it doesn't really go down to that exactly. Like want to have their kid. I mean, like I wonder how. Here, I'm going to switch to another sub. I wonder how other subs translate that because I am just curious. No, seems about the same. Okay. Hmm. To me, I guess the way I read that is very linked to like sexual attraction, and that makes sense because of how opposing Skihi was to that idea. So it's just interesting that he gets the opposite answer from Karen. I guess in a sense that would make it feel like he just doesn't get an answer at all, because it's like if he's gonna weigh both of their responses equally in some sense, then you know, and based off how confused he seems by the end of the episode, it makes sense to me, right? So Hanakawa has the gauze with the bruise, of course. Isn't it like a flash here that says like failure or something, right? Yeah, because like okay, we'll talk about it when we get to the end about like the gauze and like what this means for Hanakawa, because we will really have to talk about Araragi healing it for her and like how I think he should not have done that. So just wait for that. Um, and so yeah, I mean, it seems like he flips her skirt, he does some ridiculous shit to like get them out of the awkward situation, I guess. So, sure. And God, it really is. He is just so like the dynamic of the relationship, how like she's standing up, he's sitting down, she's always walking like ahead of him, like in their conversation, all of this, it really, I feel like it's just so perfectly like shows in Aragi's mind how he feels like he is inferior to Hanakawa in every way. you know like um yeah, I guess that's just it. I just feel like the framing of so many shots and just the way like this, like in the opening when he's kneeling down in front of her, she's looking at him, it's just really, it's like the Hanakawa that exists in his mind is just this perfect person, and he is just inferior to her in every way. It's just like yeah, it's, man, I guess that alone isn't a good way to, good thing to base a relationship off of, that's for sure. And God, I didn't even think about this at the start of the conversation, but like, she's talking to him about his family. He is like this, we know how he feels about his family, that he feels like he doesn't fit in and all of this and blah, blah, blah. Um, and of course, it's just like, think about it from Hanakawa's point of view. She doesn't have a family at all, right? So it's like, just, God, I just feel so bad for her. Like, I'm sure she would rather have any family than the one, she has right now. And especially because Aragi, like, it's not like his family dynamic is bad by any means. And it's like, and okay, if we're going back to the idea of like the whole like Hanakawa getting like, this was brought up in Tsubasa Cat about how like Black Hanakawa talks about how Hanakawa was hoping that Aragi would like save her from her situation and from her problems. So Hmm. And it's like, she hopes that just like she saw Araragi help Kiss Shot, and then later on in Bake when he helps everyone there too, she hopes that Araragi is just going to help her and just fix her problem, and that because of the kind of person she is, and like again, like so like here, this is a good time to go into this just to make sure we're all on the same page. My understanding of Hanakawa is that like she's the kind of person where if she had to like send a double text to someone, she would kill herself. Like she is the idea of like imposing her feelings on another person. Like I think like it really is. It's like sending a double text to someone. Like the reason why people in general feel like awkward and weird about sending a double text to someone is you feel like you're like imposing on their, well, I guess there can be several meanings, but for one, it's like you feel like you are imposing on like their like comfort zone. It's like, oh, they didn't answer my last text, so I don't really want to send another text because like that's just it's like maybe they didn't want to answer to my last one. It's like now I'm piling on another thing on there. It's like I don't want them to have to worry about me that much. I don't want to feel like I'm being all of the things that go into making you feel like you don't want to double text someone. That is Hanakawa with her entire life, right? Like she the idea of her imposing her problems on another person is just like she just can't do it. It's impossible for her. That's why like in Bake, she does all of the crazy shit she does with Araragi, and like giving him relationship advice and all of that, and like when she almost kisses him in the library, all that stuff. And why it make Black Hanakawa come out is because she like literally imposing her emotions on another person, which again is just like a crazy thing to think. That's just not how relationships work. You shouldn't feel like your emotions are a burden on another person, right? But that is what she feels. The idea of her doing that to someone is just like she just can't do it. It's incredibly relatable to me. Like I mean, I don't know. It's just like any time that it's like you don't want to enter a social situation because of the burden you feel like you'll be imposing on another person, even if again if it's just as tiny as sending a double text to someone, um, then it's that's just take that feeling just for everything in your entire life for Hanakawa, just and it goes so far for her that I just can't. Odd. It's just awful. I just like it goes so far for her that she can't seek help of any kind for her abusive family situation, of course, right? Um so to go back with the whole Araragi stuff, it's almost like this is just she was hoping that Araragi would just help her and solve her problem without her having to ask. Because again, it's the process of her having to ask and having to like push her problems on another person. That's how she views it. Is just like unthinkable to her. She could never do that. So she sees Araragi, who decided to help this vampire of his own volition, and she hopes that Araragi is just going to help her and save her too, and just help her problem, just fix it. She doesn't have to worry about it. She doesn't have to impose herself on another person. Araragi is just going to show up and fix everything for her, and it'll be great. And she doesn't have to like be in that position where she has to actually think about her own feelings and impose them on another person, right? Of course, Araragi isn't doing that for her. So, it's been a month since Kizu. So, I guess I just feel like this is her, like, bringing it up vaguely, to him. I feel like the fact that she does this here, and then immediately she starts talking about getting a headache after this, I feel like it's no coincidence that this is when Black Hanakawa starts showing up, right? It seems like when she kind of, when her emotions have reached that breaking point where she can't just hold everything in anymore, that's when Black Hanakawa shows up, right? Like, that's what happened in Bake. That's what's happening here, So, hmm. And yeah, and I guess it's just like, I wonder if in her mind she's thinking, okay, Aragi hasn't helped me yet. So maybe he just doesn't know I have this problem. So if I just kind of vaguely raise the idea that my life is terrible and everything sucks, then Aragi will come in and save the day, right? Who'll be the perfect hero to save everything for me. Hmm. Man, I used to believe that being family didn't require you to be blood related. Obviously, we just went over this. We just went over this in Nisei, right? And Skihi Phoenix, that Skihi is still Skihi, even though she's an evil bird, right? So you don't have to be blood related. It really is, I guess, again, if we're thinking about Hanakawa and her position in relationships, the way she, treats herself and her own emotions, right? It's like she wants some excuse. She wants some excuse to be related to someone, um, other than just being like emotionally open with them and actually forming a connection with them, right? The reason why she wants blood related family is because then it's just, oh, they're my family, right? So even if I'm act the way I do, and I never, they don't know anything about me because I refuse to tell anyone about any of my problems ever, and it's a one-sided relationship, because that really is what she's doing through her behavior. Then they're still blood related to me, so they're still my family, right? And that's that's what she wants. That's what she wants Aragi to do too, right? It's just he's just the natural hero who's going to save everyone, so surely he'll just save her too, even though she doesn't ask him to, right? Um, And man, like I couldn't change a thing, and it sucks. She didn't try to change anything, right? Like I tried my best to what do you mean by get along with them? I act like an inhuman saint who has no emotions and is perfect at all times and doesn't, you never impose your emotions on anyone else. Again, I hate saying that it's like she acts perfect because that really reinforces her behavior, right? Because it's like the idea that the way she's acting now is perfect is what makes her behavior so dangerous because it's not perfect for her to act like this. It's not perfect to never reach out to anyone ever about any of your problems, because you actually do have problems. So, in her mind, I'm sure getting along with them means never doing anything that I think would make them uncomfortable by telling them anything about any of my problems ever or any of my emotions of any kind. But that's not gonna work. So, sorry, that's not. Nope. Hmm. And yeah, and it's very, he says, I'm your friend, I think. Because again, Hanakawa is his first friend. He has been friendless for a very long time. So he really doesn't know how this works. So, oh God. So it's like, hmm. It's interesting. Do you think that this sentence challenges Hanakawa's view of relationships, right? Aren't friends supposed to hear you out in these situations, right? Because the implication of that is that for one, it would require Hanakawa to share her emotions and problems with Araki, which she doesn't want to do. But at the same time, it's implying that because he's her friend, he has like an obligation to do it for her anyway. Hmm. So I just wonder if through both of their incredibly broken minds, if like that squares up properly. Does that mean that it's okay for Hanakawa to tell him about this stuff because he's supposed to have an obligation to do it through being her friend? Like I don't know. I mean, she does tell him, so maybe. Of course, she has to make him promise not to tell anyone because, of course, right? Like, of course, it goes so far that like of course she doesn't want her family to get in trouble for abusing her because that would be imposing her problems on other people, right? It's not like it goes that far where it's just like uh, even for her abusive father, she doesn't want him to get into trouble or have any hardship because of her. Of course, because of her, right? It's his own actions, but in her mind it's because of her, right? If she just doesn't tell anyone and nothing happens because of it, then yeah. And man, I just like the way she even phrases it, because like, I'm sorry, girl, but whose fault is it that they don't know you at all? Like, I just, I hate saying this because like, it sounds like I'm excusing her father's actions, and I really don't want to. Obviously, like her father is terrible for abusing her, like, um, but the fact that her relationships and her life are like this, it's not just, she she needs to fix this, right? Like, if everyone around you doesn't know you at all, then that's it's because of her own behavior, right? And not she's not getting abused because of her own behavior, right? That's terrible. I would never say that, right? I don't think that at all. I'm just saying, like, it obviously plays into her behavior. So, hmm. And I guess like it makes sense. Like, she's sticking up for a parent who's not her own parent. It's not. who not her real parent. It's not because they didn't have a blood connection, right? I mean, again, we just covered that. Skihi is still Skihi. Skihi is still, Aragi's sister. It's because of the lack of an emotional connection, right? That's what makes you a family, It's not, you don't need the blood related part, right? Hmm. And yeah, that sickened him. And I feel like, God, him saying that it sickens him. Man, I could go on about this forever. Like, he thinks Hanakawa is like perfect, right? Um, and him saying that sickens him. There's two ways you could take it. There's really two ways you could take it. You could take it as like he thinks that's wrong and that she shouldn't be doing that, which like makes sense, sure. The problem with that is that would be him disagreeing with Hanakawa, right? And what is Hanakawa? Hanakawa's perfect. She's a saint, right? So surely Hanakawa can't be wrong about this. So him saying that it sickens him, I feel like in a way it's almost like representative of that contradiction in his mind of like how does he even view this situation, of it like if Hanakawa is perfect, then why is she doing this? Is it right for her to be doing this? Surely not. So yeah, I don't know. I guess just him saying that it sickened him is vague enough that it's hard to tell like what his exact thoughts on it are. You can extrapolate based off how he views Hanakawa and everything, but hmm. That makes you even worse. Like, I guess just from that line, I guess it's obvious in some sense what he's thinking. In his mind, of course, abusive parents are bad, right? I don't think that's a hot take for him. Um, so it's like she is taking part in defending them, essentially. He promised not to tell anyone. Hmm. Okay, and then this scene is just completely insane. It's a very funny scene. It's very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Hmm. God, and her saying, "Be touched by my sincerity and keep my secret." Like, girl, I'm sorry. I don't think you've ever been sincere in your life. Like, I don't know. I don't think you. I don't think you can be sincere. You got to work on that. Maybe when you're Black Hanakawa, you're sincere. I don't know. Um, of course, so she starts getting the headache, which is interesting because obviously, we know it's going to happen. We know Black Hanakawa is going to show up. I'm very curious where we're going with it. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And so, Araragi's go-to thing is to lick the gauze and heal the wound. And so I've already said something about this, right? But I guess I'm gonna pose a question to you because like it really is something to think about here. It's like, is this a good thing for Araragi to do? Right? Like on the face of it, you would be like, oh yeah, he's healing her wound, right? Like surely that's good, right? Sure. Um, but what is he actually achieving through this? What is he actually achieving by healing her wound? Um, she's not gonna have that thing on her face anymore, so no one else is gonna see it. Um, and what does that mean? That means no one's gonna know about her situation, right? If she was walking around with this gauze on her cheek, then other people might notice. Other people might see, oh, what happened to your face? She would have to come up with some excuse or something. It would lead to the possibility that her situation of being abused by her parents would be discovered. you know um so him deciding to heal her cheek and heal the wound, it's like it is totally going along with her behavior and like giving her what she would want. Right, you know what I mean? Like what he did here by healing the wound is let her keep up the charade. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I don't think he's thinking of it like that, really. Gosh, maybe on some level he could be, but I think he wants to heal it for her. But just obviously, if the wound was still there, and she didn't have this way to just supernaturally cover up the evidence of her abuse, then there would at least be the possibility of someone finding out about it and doing something about it, which of course she doesn't want because of the way, the way she is. Um, and it's like, man, in a way, it's like perfect, isn't it? How it shows like Hanakawa wants Araragi to help her with this situation, right? Hanakawa wants Araragi to get her out of this situation without her having to impose her feelings or emotions on anyone, and just magically solve it for her. And what does he do instead here? He heals the wound, potentially maybe an actual thing that could be used to get her out of this situation. Someone noticing that she's being abused by her parents. He heals it for her and covers it up for her, which what this is actually doing is just keeping her in the situation. You know what I mean? Like, so, man. And I guess, like, you could really view it on, like, some, like, you could almost view it as, like, it's Araragi keeping her as, like, a perfect saint, he's really is covering up, he's removing the wound and covering up the evidence of the parts of her life that isn't her being a perfect saint, so, like, again, and I don't think Aragi's really viewing it like that. Hanakawa certainly is happy that he does this for her, because of course, she doesn't want people seeing this wound. But I guess it's just like a perfect example, a perfect showcase of like the dynamic between them and why they aren't like good for each other. Like what because Araragi, we know Araragi isn't going to help her with her problem, right? So yeah, he'll cover up the evidence of it for her, which is what she wants. It's not what she should want, right? It's reinforcing her behavior and making it worse for her, and that's just why. Yeah, so, man, it's very interesting, isn't it? I don't know, because just on the face of it, it seems like it seems like a good thing to do, and I guess I'm not saying that it's like a bad thing for him to do explicitly. I just think like what it shows about both of them as a character, her being happy about him doing it for her, and him doing it for her, and like the actual implications behind it. That's the interesting part. And I don't believe her exactly, but I don't really want to defend her parents, so I guess I just don't know what to say about it. Like, because I guess it's possible that her parents and their being abusive are like what have framed her like behavior and have made her act this way. I mean, probably, right? So I guess in a sense, she probably is telling the truth, and that like let's say if she's gotten very negative feedback from her parents from her ever trying to share her emotions and like be a burden on other people, that would make sense why she acts like this in the first place, right? So, God, it just sucks. Hmm. Instead of relieving my frustration, I've only made it worse. And like, in what way has he made it worse? Like, because obviously, I thought we were supposed to be talking about sexual frustration here, but like, I don't. Like, he's so confused. He's so just like mixed up in his head here. Is what he's thinking about like the conflict between viewing Hanakawa as like a perfect saint and like the reality of her situation? Like, I just don't know. I just really don't know. And obviously, like, I mean, I haven't even brought this up because I guess it's obvious. Like, Araragi can't do anything about her situation. Like she wants Araragi to fix her problem so badly, but he can't. So is that part of the problem here that he's thinking about right now in this moment? Is that he can't fix her problem. I'm sure he wants to. He would want to so badly. But he can't. The best he can do is heal the wound for her, which doesn't actually fix anything. It makes it worse, if anything. So, because I mean, I guess, because again, I mean, it's like another problem she has is, of course, not wanting to be a burden on others. So, Aragi sure can help her with that by healing the wound, but that's not what she needs. Man, I don't know. I guess, I guess we'll see where this goes. I mean, we know it's not going to have a happy ending. It really is. It's just like Kizu, because we knew Kizu wasn't going to have a happy ending. We know this isn't going to have a happy ending. So, man, we are back to emo Aragi. We are, God. Hmm. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. It was a really good episode. I Want to see where this is going to go. So I don't know. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Please give me your thoughts. And I guess I will see you in the next one.